Hey, welcome. It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community. Just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to the live. I'm Captain Matt here with you. And thank you, Herb. I appreciate that. Sorry, I just took a bite of cookie. I didn't think it was going to end so quickly. Let me come on here. Welcome, everybody. I've been running a little bit late. Was out on doing the twin engine. Building blocks yesterday, doing the editing today, and been doing some work at the house as well. And so I am beat today. But hopefully we got some good questions. Looks like we got a good crew here. And I'm a little disorganized to start. So hang on a second. All right, let's see. We got a bunch of folks on. Matt, Herb, Momo Adams, haven't seen you for a while. JP, welcome. Jerry, yeah, thank you for that. The etiquette stuff, I wish those videos did even better than they do. I want that to be one of the things that this channel impacts people, is just being more respectful to other people on the water, at the boat ramp, really just everywhere. It seems like that I try to teach my girls this all the time, that awareness of other people, whatever that you're doing, the grocery store, on the road, that's something that seems to have, I don't know, it seems to have changed. I'm not even 50 yet. I'm 40. I'll be 49 in June. But it seems like that just awareness of others, of other space, of others, what they're trying to do in the world, and how you impact them. It seems like that awareness has gone away completely. So yeah, the light bars and if you saw my video that I did, let's see here. This one right here. If you guys were on the live last year, this Supra guy. So we were out on Lake Wiley, We were out on Lake Norman. And the Supra had his docking lights on, just going right down the channel. And he ended up going to the same marina that I was going to. And my wife said, "Don't say anything to him. Just let it be." I was like, okay. Well, he was talking to his wife, and I tried to, as nice as I could, say, "Hey, were you aware that you're not supposed to run your docking lights at night? You can get an expensive ticket. I don't want you to get a ticket." And he basically told me, "Hey, I can't see." Well, meanwhile, he had every other light in his cockpit on. Like, of course you can't see. You have zero night vision because every light on your boat is on. And I think it's somewhat of a manufacturer fail that the manufacturers, yes, it helps them sell boats, but their responsibility to create a safe boating environment, I guess, is just out the window because it helps them sell boats. So I think they're partly to blame, and obviously people not understanding. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that. But it is frustrating, and that's one of the few rant videos that I've made that because it really ticked me off. So anyway, the guy was kind of an ass. Rhonda Harner, welcome to the live. It's been too long since I've heard a peep from you. Rhonda is one of my favorite subscribers and clients. She's got a tri-tune down in Myrtle Beach, and she's fun. If you haven't listened to her, she joined me on the podcast last year at some point. They bought a brand new, I want to say it's a Barletta tri-tune, and she did the best pontoon captain and had a great review. And she's always sending me some fun stuff. When she broke her foot I don't know if it was last summer or when it was, but she sent me a video of her watching my very first video, and she said she was gonna, while she was laid up, she was just gonna watch all my videos. So it's always fun to see Rhonda on the live. Welcome. Momo, Saint Bo, good to have you. Chris M, Troy, evening everyone. Had a great time boating on Saturday. Starting to get warm, almost 80 in northern Georgia. Yep, Troy, I'm just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and yeah, we've had some nice days. Like I said, I recorded for probably 6 hours or so on Saturday. I guess it was on Saturday, doing the twin engine version. Went through all the building blocks and got those all put down on tape. Working through the editing right now. So all you guys, and I've got a list of them now that are waiting on that twin engine version. I'm hoping to, in the next week or two, to get the docking mastery done so that I can have it by the end of the month, have it all out and ready for everybody, and get that in your hands. I'll probably, the folks that are waiting, if you're somebody that's waiting for that twin engine, I'll probably release the building blocks here soon. And so at least you can get started on those, and then I'll get the docking mastery in when I get that on film and edit it up here in the next week or two. Again, weather, getting the boat lined up, and coordinating all that. Evening, everyone. Great time. Let's see. Bo, test running my boat by the end of the month. Fixing my Chevy's brakes today. Doing a little work. That's good. Let's see here. Middle-aged delinquent, welcome. Middle-aged delinquent, thank you very much for the support. Let's see if if you got a question, just throw it in there, and I'll push yours up to the top as we get started. I just kind of go through everything and see what everybody's up to. But thank you very much for that support. Always appreciated. Put the boat in the water yesterday. Oh yeah, Chris. Chris, where are you at? What where do you do your boating? I always like to find out when people get started. All the Florida and the Gulf Coast folks that are out, they'll run out in December, and some of us have to wait for it to warm up a little bit. Hey Matt, I know you said you you said you don't know much about bass boats. I really like the upper model Lund, but I heard they use rivets versus welding, advantage, disadvantage. So it's really a matter in my mind, and I haven't dove deep on this, but it's really a matter of the gauge of aluminum, the thickness. So when you're riveting, that tends to be thinner aluminum. When they're riveting, the welds, they're using thicker aluminum, and so they have to weld it. Now the rivets, the most important thing if you have a riveted boat is to make sure that they're doing double rivets, not rivets. So if you think about it, when they're riveting, you've got two layers of aluminum overlapping, and they're punching a rivet in. Well, one rivet, okay, fine, but two rivets gives you a better seal, because there's the potential for water intrusion. With one, if there's any flex over time, it can cause a little bit of a gap and water can get in because they're riveting every 8, 12 inches, whatever it is, depending on what section of the boat you're on. The welded, your hull is going to be a little thicker, a little more durable. If you're going to be fishing up in the rocks or something, the boat's going to be a little bit heavier. um, the thing with the welds is if you get a crack in a weld, it's very hard to um, repair that. You have to re-weld it, and then it's always susceptible to breaking again. Advantages, disadvantages from running, like what's the experience of operating the boat? I don't know, Momo. I can't give you any. Oh, this one feels better. This one feels different. It's in my mind, I would say it's more a matter of durability. Are you going to be in the rocks? Are you going to be in a situation where it's going to get banged around a little bit more, where that thicker gauge is going to be more valuable? I know like up in, let me pull up this boat here. Um, North River. So this is uh, North River. Is that what I'm looking for? Okay. I guess that's not what I thought their website was going to look like, but this is the right boat. So they call these heavy gauge boats up in the Pacific Northwest, and they're running aluminum boats. And I don't know if why North River accept all. Yeah, so these are the heavy gauge, and they're gonna be welded, and essentially they give you a thicker hull when you're running these boats. You can see just they're just rugged, and you're running them off, out in the Pacific, the northern Pacific, and going offshore. You see these boats in like off Seattle, out in Alaska, and they're just rugged for that environment, and with the pilot houses. But how they handle and other benefits, I wish I had a actual answer for you. But again, like I said, before I do a best and worst of the aluminum boat market and dive deeper in than just some basics of what to look for, I need to educate myself. And there's a guy, he's joined some of the lives that invited me up if I'm ever up at the Seattle Boat Show. His family's got a place on an island up there that you can only get to by boat. And he says they've had aluminum boats for 30 years, and he'd be glad to kind of give me his expertise, and shared a big long email with me. It's probably been maybe 6 months ago this winter. And so I've got some educating of myself to do there. So what's the best boat for sale site that keeps up with putting the ads up when they first hit the market, take them down when they're sold? JP, nobody does a good job. Here's why: because it's the dealers and the sellers that put the ads up. And responsible for taking them down. For the sellers, they've got one boat to sell. When they sell it, they're done. Like in their mind, they're done. They're not going back and unless they get annoyed with the phone calls, they are, they're not really incented to take them down. And the site like Boat Trader, they can't take them down because they don't know. And most of the time they're buying, like if you've ever looked at Boat Trader, they're buying a period of time or they're buying till sold. So sell your boat. I'll have to go through, but they're gonna after I put in that information, when they offer the pricing, it's gonna be like, $75 to list it for a month, and then $150 to list it until it's sold. And then they'll try to upgrade you on the pictures and things like that. And so, but they don't know when it's sold. They have no mechanism to update other than if the seller comes back and takes that ad down. On the dealer side, some dealers are better than others, but again, they're subscribing to the service, whether it's boats.com or Boat Trader or used pontoon boats for sale or whatever it is. They're somewhat incented to leave them up because if you call on that, now they've got another opportunity. Even if that boat's sold, they might have something else that they could offer you. And they're just too busy. They're too busy in the environment during the busy time of the summer that the person in charge of doing the ads is just they're trying to get the new boats up there as quickly as they can, and they don't put a lot of time and effort into pulling them down. And again, because of they generate leads, they're not really incented to take them down, and the listing sites don't penalize them if they don't. Hey, who is it? Well, we got a special guest here. My wife would like to say hello to everybody.
No,
just come on, say hi.
I look awful.
Yeah, they don't care. That's my wife. She is scared to get on camera. She's fine if she wants to lay in here. But anyway, so as far as where do they go first, I would go probably the earliest is going to be Facebook Marketplace because that's where somebody is going to go and they're going to list it when they first have the idea. It's free, and they're going to probably put it on Facebook Marketplace in their local market area, and you can go, from there if you're go into your radius or whatever. And that's probably going to be, that's just a gut feel. There in Craigslist are going to be, I think it's $5 to list a boat on Craigslist now, that's where they're going to list them first. And then after that, Boat Trader and boats.com and Yacht World, if you're looking for a bigger cruiser or a bigger center console, I'd say over 26, 28 feet. Yacht World is where the brokers are going to list them. Boat Trader is for private sellers and dealers of more 26 and under boats in a lot of cases. But there's really no dominant player. Now, I don't know, JP, what kind of boats you're looking at, but you've got like I said used pontoon boats for sale. You've got center consoles only. You've got what's the wake boat one? Let's see if it pulls up. Wake boats for sale. Only inboards. Only inboards is so center consoles only if you're looking for a center console. Only inboards. Used pontoon boats for sale. And I don't know if there's one for aluminum fishing boats or not, but you can go to those sites. Boat Trader is going to be the big player, but then you can kind of niche down into exactly what you're looking for. But unfortunately, the boats being sold and still being up as for sale is just part of the online world that they don't have zeroed in yet. Um, all last week, it was the upper 70s, low 80s. Tomorrow we'll have snow in Chicago. Yeah, that my mom on Facebook, sometime this weekend, she posted a picture from our backyard where they live in Nebraska, and she said it was nice and like 70s there, and the picture was of the same day last year, and there was a 4 inches of snow on the pool in the back. So all right, let's see. Safety ain't been in the builders' heads ever since Simrads were dubbed the future. Yeah, the eh, I don't know. As an industry, I understand building a boat that's going to sell. Building a boat that you know looks good at a boat show, looks good in the showroom, and it's I the LED lights started coming out when I was in sales still. So 2010, 11, Harris pontoon boats, which we sold, started putting in the lighted cup holders. And oh my goodness, it's I've never liked them, and yet it helped me sell boats. I mean, you would turn on the LED lights and people would freak out. They would be like, "That's the greatest thing in the world." And they love them. And when we first started selling them, we had clients that got pulled over by shore patrol saying, "Hey, listen, you can't have a blue light on your boat. That's mimicking the police." And they were getting tickets. We had to go to Brunswick's legal team, say, "Listen, we got clients that are getting picked up by shore patrol. You need to give us the Coast Guard regs that say it's okay." And obviously now they're commonplace, but back in 2010 and 11, it was, it was just the new thing, and it helps them sell boats. So if you don't have it and everybody else does, you'll lose market share. So I get it, but I wish as an industry they want to talk about everybody should wear their life jacket at all time on a boat, and they allow lighted cup holders and LED lights everywhere and big bright Simrad screens or 9-inch screens right in your face. I run my father-in-law's Cobalt, and it's got a big, I don't know what size it is, 7-inch screen probably, right in my face, and I put my shirt on it. I put my shirt over it because I want to see the water. I don't need the map showing to me. I want to see the water. And it's kind of frustrating. So just make new boaters unaware. Yeah, you're exactly right. You can't see crap. Can't see crap when you got that light in your eyeballs. All right, I need to speed up. We got comments stacking up here. Love my first installment. But my secret weapon right now, all you guys, I haven't watched all the videos. Spacey, great job. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Momo. And I love, now that we're a couple weeks away from May, and the weather's starting to warm up everywhere. I can't wait for all the folks that have gotten the best boat captain program and the trailer like a pro. They start using the stuff, and I usually get a big surge of emails, people telling me their experience and getting out and doing the first exercises and getting control. So I would love to hear that from you. Thanks for being a supporter. Same thing to middle-aged delinquent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Um, good. All right, let's see. All right. I'm trying to see if middle-aged left can you make a video going over what your boat looks like? Never seen it. I'm in the fortunate position that right now I run a ton of different boats all the time. Like yes or Saturday, I was running a 32-foot four winds, a cruiser to do the twin engine, but I typically run a 22-foot South Bay Tritune with the 150, or my in the when we go to Tennessee, my father-in-law's Cobalt R5, a 25-foot stern drive with a Volvo 5.7 with counter rotating props. I also run a 23-foot chaparral when I'm up on Lake Norman and running there. I run a Harris 115 pontoon. That's a 22 foot. So I'm running all different boats, which is it's partly because of what I do is I like to have a big variety of boats that I'm running. At the coast, I ran a 23-foot Sea Hunt with a 225 center console, as well as there was a 25-foot Pursuit twin engine when we did the coastal. But yeah, that's something that this summer I'll try to do some of those videos. I haven't done any performance stuff, but let's see. It's it wasn't very exciting. That's why I didn't go down this path, but let me show you what I did last summer, and maybe I'll just make it more interesting. Um, so this is one where I was running the 21 foot Harris with the 115, talking about the navigation markers when I was running. This is the way, if you guys, I don't know if I've ever showed this before or not. This is with this. Let's see if this works. Last couple times I've tried to do run the YouTube while I'm doing it. Come on. Ah, all right. This might not work out. But anyway, I run. There we go. So I run 4 different cameras, and so I give you 4 different angles. Usually there's one off the bow, one off the stern, one on my face talking, and then if I'm doing like when I did the building blocks, there's one down on the controls on the steering wheel and the throttle, or maybe off to the port side if we're doing a side dock or doing something where you need to see the side, and I shoot it like that. But I also did a couple where, let's see, cruising. Like this one right here, this was just cruising. It was a 53-minute video, 53-minute video of just me cruising, and we'll see if that. It's just I shot it from the perspective of me. I don't even remember what lake I was on. This might have been on Mountain Island. Um, but it only got 942 views. So I didn't know that anybody would be interested in it, but I'll try to do something more interesting than what that one is. That's a great idea. Um, got to stop using this microphone. Me? Is this microphone not good? Is my sound looking off? Let me know. Um, okay, Ocean City, Maryland. So that's good that you're up in the Northeast. You're getting ready for it. Uh, what a username. I love it. Middle-aged. I'm assuming that's middle-aged delinquent that he's talking about. Let's see here. White knuckled down the ICW one night, been docking lights on, no nav lights on, fog. I think I idled all the way from the river to I can't read that. So Casti Bay. So cat. All right, I need to get my glasses on. I'm getting too old. Yeah, it can be, the biggest thing when you're running at night. The biggest thing when you're running at night is, for me, I'll stand up, keep your speed down. If you're running in fog, that's a tough thing. You can use your sound signals, Rhonda, and be listening for sound. If there's any commercial traffic, you can. I mean, in the fog, there is a sound signals that you can use: short blast, and a prolonged blast. Um, let's see here. Boats that are less than 39. Sound signal device. I forget what the actual requirement is. Maneuvering. No, where's my fog? Oh, that's not what I need. I need to look this up because I run on inland lakes and I'm not out in fog very often, but there's sound signals that you can make. And we talk about it in the coastal version, which Rhonda, if you never got access to the coastal version, I know I gave it to you right when we first started, but I don't know if you ever were able to get logged in. Shoot me an email if you think of it. Shoot me an email so I can make sure that you're in and have access to it if you haven't yet, because we're up and live with that now. But yeah, it can be nerve-wracking for sure. I love running at night, but I'm usually running on bodies of water that I know incredibly well, and so I don't have the nerves about where I am. It's more about seeing what other people are doing and knowing that if it's late at night, they've likely been drinking, and they likely aren't paying as much attention as they should. But when I'm running at night, I am on high alert. I'm standing up. I've got the radio on a little bit, but all the lights are off in the boat. Only my anchor navigation lights are on, and I'm scanning everywhere, and just, especially if you're somewhere where it's really really dark, or if it's somewhere where there's a ton of noise light, with docks and houses. That's the hardest thing on lakes is the docks and houses. When you're running at the coast, it's a little bit different um, than on the lakes. Went out Friday, Sandy Point at the Bay Bridge, Maryland Boat Show. I think was there a boat show up there? Did somebody say? I think maybe it was Jerry that said that. Chesapeake Boat Show this afternoon. Yeah, I thought there was a boat show up that way. Usually watch day or two after. First time watching live. Well, welcome to the live. If you got a comment or a question, just throw it in. Want to get your take on this hydrofoil? Worth it? Already get amazing low end torque from the 4-blade. I don't think so. I just saw hydro. I don't think it's necessary. I just saw an ad for the Hydro Shield, which is the hydrofoil slash prop protector is the way they're selling it, and then you have the whale tail as well. And if your boat's getting up on plane quickly, I wouldn't mess with it. I am a believer in the manufacturers know how to build their boat to get the right level of performance out of it, and a lot of these aftermarket products are are trying to solve a problem that typically isn't there. Now, if your boat's underpowered, yeah, it might be helpful, gives you a little bit better planing, and then I would look at it maybe. But if you're just trying to get more performance out of it, it's it's probably not going to do the trick, from my experience. The extra drag that you get, the hydrofoil concept, it really has to be dialed in, the right angles, the right edges, the right shape. And if it's not, it's gonna decrease performance. I've never run the Hydro Shield, which is the one that mounts to the skeg and is supposed to be a hydrofoil. I've never run it, so I can't say if it's good or bad. But in general, that's my take. In general, my take is a lot of those aftermarket products are solving a problem that not many boats have. So, other unless you're underpowered. Um, Chain of Lakes, yeah, I think that's where I ran smaller North River before. Amazing. Yeah, I knew those were like rock solid boats. I know a dealer up in Seattle area that no, yes, outside of Seattle that sold them, and they loved them. They were big fans of them, but I don't have any experience running those um, on the aluminum side of things. They don't pound, they don't rattle. Whole shot's magnificent. Yeah, they are lighter, so that you don't as much power. They just get up and go, for sure. Boat Trader is pretty good. Yeah, I think Momo. I think you're right that that Boat Trader is probably the best place to go if you're looking for used boats. It's probably the largest selection in your area. Some of the other ones are going to be niche, but they're they're not going to have all the inboards. They're not going to have all of the center consoles listed in your area where a Boat Trader probably will. And there's been several entrants into the boat listing market that just haven't made it. There's a couple from Russia that I've talked to probably 10 years ago that was raising funds, and they had venture capital investors, VC investors that were had put several $1,000,000 into it, and they couldn't crack it because Boat Trader has such a hold on the dealer relationships, on the SEO and their website. They've got so much content and they've got so much history. It's going to be hard to dethrone them unless they do something dumb. And if they lose the dealer portion of the business, but they got the dealers wrapped up with Boat Trader, they got the brokers wrapped up with Yacht World, they've got boats.com, they've got content everywhere, and they're until they do something dumb, which they might. I think they got a pretty good hold on them. How does Bass Pro stand behind their boat sales? Let's see if Brian has anything to say about that. Got the boat ready for the water. Gonna drop back into 30s this week. Brian is up in, but Brian, you didn't buy yours from. Brian's got a Sun Tracker pontoon, but I don't know if he bought it from a Bass Pro or not. I thought he was going to be answering that question. The warranty is going to be handled by the boat manufacturer. So Tracker Marine is going to handle the warranty. Now they're White River, so they're owned by Bass Pro, but that's going to be run through them, and they do a good job. The Mercuries, all of that's going to be run directly through Mercury, and Mercury is, they're as good as Yamaha, Suzuki, and Honda standing behind their warranty. The engine manufacturers are all pretty good at that. It's a matter of, when you say stand behind their boat sales, it's a matter of, does it fall under the warranty? I think that's the biggest thing. Is it did it there's a well, it's the misuse is kind of how I look at it, and they'll say, well, that it was misuse, and we're not gonna stand behind it. I don't know if Tracker does this or not, but some manufacturers will do that and say, hey, that's a component of the boat, and so you need to go to the other manufacturer. Bennington was one of the first ones that came out and said, no, 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 no. If it's on our boat, it falls under our warranty, and we're gonna take care of it. But some manufacturers, even still, they'll say if it's a component, then you got to go to that. Like, let's say it's a JL Audio stereo. I don't think that's who Tracker uses, but a JL Audio, you got to go to JL Audio to get a warranty claim, instead of it coming to the manufacturer who chose that product to put in their boat. But if anybody has a Tracker Marine boat brand, that would share about their experience, if you've had any warranty claims, how that went, to share with Momo, that would be great. Make sure, Brian, that you drain it out real good. Make sure also that you get all the water out of the prop, so that there's no water collected in that prop hub, because at 30, if it gets down to 32, 31, that could be just enough to freeze that little bit of water that sits in that prop hub, and it can do just enough to cause problems with your prop hub, and need to be looked at. Looking at a trailerable pocket cruiser 26 to 28. Depending on depending on the dollar amount, what your budget looks like, you can definitely. I don't know if we talked about this, if it was you, but cruiser. This is a video that I created is really good if you're looking pre-owned. That video is helpful. Even if you're looking new, that video will be valuable for you. But let me know if you've got a specific question that's on your mind, and I will answer that for you. Let's see here. Luminous Smiles. How many years experience should a surveyor have for a quality inspection for a saltwater yacht? Are most hull damages in a hurricane damaged boat obvious? No. Okay, so I'll start with I don't have an answer for the first one. The the more years of experience a surveyor has, the more crazy things they've seen, and the more their eyes can catch stuff that a younger, less experienced surveyor may miss. So, and there's probably a point where the you know 5, 10 years. I'd say probably 10 years. You've seen most everything. And there's also a point where if you've been surveying for 30 years, there may be some new construction methods that you're not as up to date on, new technology you're not as up to date on. So there's probably that happy medium, 10, 15, 20 years experience. Um, as far as hull damage from hurricane boats, yeah, absolutely. There is, a boat could have been damaged and submerged, but just by looking at it, you wouldn't be able to tell. Now, you may see a water line, which is a pretty good sign. Um, let's see if I can find a water line in engine compartment on a boat. So a sign that you want to look for, and I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't think I've got a picture that I could find easy enough. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything. So there is one of the telltale signs of a boat that's gone under is there'll be like think of the if you've been to a a bathtub that hasn't been cleaned very much but gets used a lot, or after my kids use the tub and they're disgusting dirty. There's just that scum line of dirt around the tub. That same kind of thing happens in an engine compartment if it's submerged. Is all the dirt and grime gets pushed to the top, floats on the water, and then when that water subsides and gets drained out, it leaves a stain. It leaves a stain around, like a stripe around the engine compartment, so you can tell how high the water's come up. At times they're, the people that sell hurricanes damaged boats are, if they're selling it undisclosed, they are probably doctoring them up to hide any evidence. If it's an auction where, hey, we have a bunch of hurricane damaged boats and we're just auctioning them off, they're probably just the way they are is the way they are, and they're not hiding anything. But I would look for that scum line to see if, hey, did this engine get submerged and tap the hull, get your, and I still haven't found my big screwdriver yet, but and I did a video on this tapping my ski, but you're going to tap the entire hull underneath, use a moisture meter. I would definitely, if you're looking at something that's been in a hurricane, I would get a good moisture meter and know how to read it, which a surveyor will have, and can do that reading. But the biggest thing is to just hire a surveyor that has a good reputation, and people at boat yards and dealers or brokers are recommending, and not just the broker that you're buying from, but you're hearing that same name over and over. Like if you're in the Carolinas, Fred Wright. If you called 10 dealerships and 10 brokers and 10 boat yards, you would hear his name come up over 50% of the time. He's one of the best. He's hard to schedule. He's one of the more expensive. But if you're buying a $100,000 boat, I would rather spend the money to know I'm getting a good deal, or getting a good solid boat. And he is, in our area, he's one of the top ones. He's been doing it for probably 30 years or more. And, there's a Fred Wright, and multiple Fred Wrights in a lot of markets. Idle age delinquent. Yes. On the chain. um, Yeah, I love when there's little connections made in the comments. Went to Annapolis Boat Show Saturday, nothing under 50,000. Yeah, it's not surprising. I mean, you look at I was looking at who was I doing research for? Oh, for Ray on the Lunds. Um and you go to the aluminum fishing boats, and for some of these they're priced out. But you look at that's a 22, yeah, 16 foot, a 16 foot with a 50. I mean, you're at 20,000. Well, that's actually with the 25. So a 16 with a 25 is getting you up to, you're already at 20,000. You put a 50 on that thing and you're at 22.6, 22.7. That's no windshield. That's a tiller handle. And you've got a basic painted trailer. That's with no extras on a 16-foot boat. You're already at 22,000. No windshield, no trolling motor, no nothing. You put fiberglass on there. The fiberglass is a little bit more expensive. Now you got to add a bigger horsepower engine. You got to be up at a 90 on a 16-footer, and the price has just gone up significantly. You put any electronics on it, and they get up there in a hurry if you're looking new. And it's in all segments, in pontoons as well, in fiberglass for sure. Anything, bass boats. I don't know if you guys have watched this guy, but Team Marine YouTube. Andy at Team Marine, he just did a video kind of breaking down how bass boats can get up to 100,000 real quick. This Team Talk, Who's to Blame? He's a character with way more personality than I have, and he talks through like pricing out a boat. How much are trolling motors? How much are electronics? If you add side scan and scopes, if you add, this option and that option, how you can go from a boat that they might advertise at 60,000, but you get it all decked out and ready to go, and you're at 110,000 in a hurry with just the basic stuff that most people have. So, all right, here we go, Brian. My research seems highly dependable on the locals. Yeah, that's a great point, Brian. Bought from Bass Pro. My experience has been great. Read horror stories. Dealers a big factor. Yeah, he's exactly right. Is that every store is run? They've got a regional manager, then they've got the general manager of the store, and they've got the technicians. If the regional manager is not pushing service, if the general manager it doesn't have a lot of boating experience, if the service techs are not experienced, they could try real hard, but there can be major issues. They just don't know how to fix things. And excuse me. And they're more of a volume focused operation, and the boat sales is just one tiny part of it. And some are better than others, and it really depends on the people in the store with the big boxes. Springs Lake, yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Brian. Been around boats all my life, never owned my own. Picking up this Thursday. Rich, you're very welcome. What are you getting? Tell us what you're picking up on later this week. Would love to hear. It is always exciting. I'm I'm docked by bimbos. So you must have watched my you must have watched my um the my one of my latest ones, the marine etiquette video. I think, as a matter of fact, sustainability. I think you may have even commented on it. There was somebody that commented that I saw that made me chuckle. I don't know if that was you. No, must not have been. Um, who was it? I thought it was maybe it was another one, but there was a comment that made me chuckle that I saw in the last couple of days. But yeah, it makes a big difference. Okay, good. I was hoping that my mic wasn't. This is my good mic that I've had for a while, but sometimes it doesn't. I forget to hook this one up, and it takes my computer one. Um, an Avid 21 mag. I don't know that boat. Avid 21 mag. Let's check this out. Let's see what. Okay, yeah. So a nice little flats boat. 21 mag. Oh, there it is. Very nice. Max 200. That thing's going to move at 20. Yeah, that's perfect. Just getting out. Nice. I love that big casting platform. That thing's huge. Nice and flat, easy to navigate. That's awesome. Congratulations, man. See, and that's why I love Rhonda right there. We were talking about her running at night in the fog, and she says her sound system was a lot of cussing. That works. Hey, as long as they hear you coming, Rhonda, that's what matters. Uh, that's what matters. Night cruising is great with full moon. That definitely helps. That definitely helps. What is your latest take on the Hydrofin? I have. So I ran the Hydrofin. Um, Hydrofin. And I did a video on it. It's been, oh shoot, probably 2 years ago now, maybe more. Um, this so this is I'm down in Tampa, and this is at the IBEX, the International Boat Builders Expo. And this Jason was the creator, inventor of the Hydrofin. And he we sat and talked. He took me out on their demo boat, and we sat and talked for a long period of time. He let me run the boat, so I got to experience it firsthand. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm going to do an honest review. I said, whatever I experience, you get no say, you get no editorial say in my video. And he's like, that's fine. That's how I want it. I'm totally confident in what's going on. And we've done a lot of testing, but we talked a lot about hydrofoils and the technology. And he mentions it in the video. I don't remember, but there's a hydrofoil engineer that does work on like uh the why am I blanking on the what's the big sailboat race? Um the Cup. I don't know. The America's Cup. There we go. That designed the foils for those boats, and Bernelli, something like that, starts with the B. But it is, I think, for the right setup, I think it's amazing. The one thing that I was really impressed with it, but I haven't learned or haven't run it anymore. I think they've got their design locked in, and it's more a matter of selling the concept and selling the product. Where I think their design, they've got a tri-tune version, they've got a twin pontoon version, and I think there's some applications where I would say, hey, that's probably a good idea. If you've got a low horsepower boat that you need more speed out of, I think it's a great option there. The other option, which I think is interesting, is if you run in a really, really rough, choppy body of water. Now, I'm not talking 3 footers. I'm not talking big rollers. I'm talking just heavy chop, like Lake of the Ozarks, like Lake something like Lake Norman and you run only on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. The hydrofoils lift you up out of that chop and give you an incredibly smooth ride. You just don't feel that chop. If that's important to you, I think they could be a great option. Now, I mentioned it with the Hydrofin, or not the Hydrofin, the Hydrofoil, that like the whale tail stuff, that it's solving a problem that doesn't exist. I think for sustainability, especially with your 400 horsepower on your Bennington Q, I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna give you a little bit more. Um, but do you really need to monkey with it? And I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary when you've got a boat that's already running 50 plus miles an hour. It's a tri-tune, it's rock solid. You can go through the heaviest chop on the Lake of the Ozarks, on Lake Norman, the chain of lakes. You're good. Like it's not going to get much better. Um, and then you're going to have these hydrofoils on, the hydrofins on a boat for resale value. You're going to have to convince somebody that it's it's a benefit, and it's not common enough yet. I don't know of any manufacturers that are putting it on. Although he was having conversations with them, I don't know of anybody that has picked it up and put on their build list for people to option out. You just it's one of those things that it's unique enough, and it's not mainstream in the boating world, that I think there would be resale problems. But running it was cool. It was really cool, but I personally wouldn't put it on my boat. I personally wouldn't put it on certainly your Q. I wouldn't even put it on the 22 with the 150. It's just that's my boating style is I'm only going to cruise 22 miles an hour anyway. Um, I can run my trim well enough to make it super comfortable running at 18, 22 miles an hour. And that's my personal preference. I don't care for that extra speed. If it's too rough, I'm probably just going out to a cove and throwing the anchor out. And so it doesn't those benefits don't suit my boating style. For others it may, and that's what I tried to convey in this video. It was cool. It worked better than I expected it to. There were a few things that, with the sports car handling is kind of the way I referred to it, that hey, there was some driving involved when you got it, and you're always on the trim. Jason explained to me how to I want to say disengage, but how to lessen the impact of kind of the driving, the sports car handling, where you're driving the whole time. If you tap it down the trim a little bit and take a little trim off, those hydrofoils kind of settle in, and it's a lot easier and more comfortable and less active driving. But I don't know. I don't see them being on a big portion of boats over the long haul. Although if you got a 25-foot boat with the 115, and you're gonna put a bunch of weight on it, and need a little bit more speed, yeah, it could be a great option for that person. Besides Bayline or Trophy, what are the other boats in the value category? So you've got, in that center console, you've got, Stingray's got some center consoles that they run that, it might be mid-tier, center console. The Makos, um, and there's this video, Mo, which you may have watched. Let me Mako, the Tidewater. I inspected Tidewaters this past year at the boat shows, and I'm moving them up to the mid tier. I think the Tidewaters that I saw were pandemic boats that snuck through, and I was really shocked. The Sea Fox, 211. I don't know if he's on here, but he's been super happy with. He just took delivery, but I would still say that they're probably in the higher end of the value category. But Mako and Trophy, there's what's really interesting is boat manufacturers are staying away. There's not many that are focusing on the value category. What they're doing is you've got a couple that will be focused on value. Everybody else is moving to more premium because that's where the money is. They're skewing more towards more electronics, better quality, more expensive boats, and you see that. Well, just like who was that said there was not a boat under 50,000 at the show up in Maryland? Who was that? T-Bone. So T-Bone just said, "Hey, there was not a boat under 50,000 up at the boat show in Maryland." And that's because manufacturers are skewing towards more expensive boat. It's happening in wake boats. It's certainly happening in center consoles where they're putting, 3, 4 motors on the back. It used to be you had a 225 and you had a big motor, a 250. Now 300s, Yamaha's 425, Yamaha's 600s, those are becoming more commonplace. And because there's so much money out there that people are spending on boats, the manufacturers are saying, "Hey, we can sell 10 boats and make more money than if we sold 30 boats on the value side." And then if we're on the value side, we gotta cut the materials that we use, and so we're gonna have more warranty issues. We're gonna have more customer service issues, and so they skew towards there's people spending the money, there's people buying these boats, and they keep pushing the prices up, and they keep adding electronics, and they keep adding lighting packages, and they keep adding technology and convenience, and there's Brunswick is working on the autonomous docking systems, and you've got joystick controls, and you've got digital throttle and shift, and you've got electric steering. You've got all these advancements in technology, and it just keeps pushing the boat price up. And hey, let's go with analog gauges. Let's go with cable steering and cable throttles, cable shift, and let's go basic interiors. And there those boats, as the recession hits, those boats get hit first. And so when the slowdown comes, it's the value, the entry level models that get hit first. And so manufacturers are shying away. So you've got in the bow rider category, um you've got Bayliner, you've got Tahoe, you've got Stingray, and you've got Hurricane, which are kind of that lower mid tier, maybe higher value brand areas. Probably both of those I would put in the mid tier actually. And there's not many of them out there. Starcraft in the deck boat line, I would put in the value side of things, but there's not much competition in the value end. What there is there's pre-owned boats. There's the used boat market. To me, is if you are educating yourself, if you're watching the videos on this channel and you're willing to take a little bit of that risk, you can get a really nice boat with a lot of life left in it, and go 5, 6, 7 years old, and be in a great situation. So, um, oh, hang on, skip that. Would you say the 23 SSI would handle all right? Yeah, yeah, it will. Here's the thing, Matt, is with a 23, you're going to get beat up. It depends on what part of the lake you're on. If you're further down towards Osage, hey, you're going to have to you really pay attention when you're running. You're going to have to watch the water. You're going to have to watch for the big cruisers going by. You're going to have to watch for the guy plowing, and it can really get stirred up there. So as you're running, you're using a lot of trim, and you are just up on plane. You're putting some weight up in the bow so that you can stay on plane at a slower speed. And you're when I'm running any boat at the Ozarks is I'm on the trim consistently. My brother runs a 36 Envision, and he's spent. I moved to the Carolinas right out of college, and he stayed in Nebraska, and so in his 20s he took his boat out to the Ozarks a ton, and he got really good at. He's kind of the one that taught me to using the trim. You come up to a big wave, instead of pulling the throttle back, you trim it up as you're getting it, you trim it down as you're going over it, and you're always on that trim button and adjusting, so you're not slamming down, and you lighten everything up as you're on and off the trim. It's kind of an art and not a science. Learn your boat, but just remember, the more you keep that bow up and the slower your speed, you can get through anything down there, and you'll be totally fine. Um, don't plan on running 28 miles an hour wherever you're going, but 18, whatever that will run on plane, 18, maybe 20. Put a little bit of weight up in the bow, and if that means sliding the cooler up there, that will help, and that will allow you to keep your bow down, stay on plane at a lower speed, and then just watch the water. Stay, I don't like to hug the shoreline, but I will if I'm in a smaller boat down there. I won't run right down the center where it's really a washing machine. I'll also go on the opposite bank. So if you think about the way the Ozarks is, it's they call it the Dragon. It's just a big, long, dammed up river. So it's all these curves and coves and stuff. And so what happens is, I'll draw it out. Okay, so if you've got a curve like this, I'm going to go full screen because I'm not sure how well you can see it. If you've got a curve like this, all of the traffic wants to hug this inside shore. They want to take the shortest route. So there's a lot of this area right here is crazy rough. If you think about it, as you're going, all of the waves are going to converge where all the traffic is. What I do is when I run, I'll cut to the outside bank, and I'll run here, and then I'll cut back through the middle, and I'll come to the other bank when it's on that other sweep up. That's something that would be helpful for you. Anytime you're running, if you can see where all the boats are going, and as long as there's deep enough water, which at the Ozarks, at the sheer cliffs go straight down, and it's 30 feet, an inch off the bank in most areas. Not everywhere, Matt, especially if you're down by the Gravois Mills or something like that, where it can get a little bit shallow. But that's the tack that I take. Is I go, all the boats are there, I go to the opposite side where there's not as much, and all those rollers have had time to slow down and to spread out, and now it's easy to handle it. Cap, I'm running a little late tonight. Swapped the quick release puck on my Sportsman today. Doing a little work. I hope you had a great time on your cruise, Brock, and you and your wife enjoyed some time on a big boat. On a big boat. He was on Brock, I hope you don't mind me saying, I'll say he's on vacation. He was on a nice vacation, which is awesome. That's awesome. Doing a little work on the Sportsman. My opinion, Carolina Skiff, Robalo. Yeah, that Eric, that's a great Carolina Skiff. When you say center console, they don't come to my mind because I think of them as more of a, not the V-Hull center console. I put them in more of the skiff category. But yeah, that's another one. They make center consoles. They're a little bit flatter bottom. They're going to be a little bit rougher if you're in the chop, but they're nice and stable. And though they're again, they're that it's a good boat, but you don't have the frills. You don't have the frills. Robalo, I would put Robalo kind of in the mid tier category. They do some nice stuff, but yeah, that's their some of their what is their I don't know if they're making it again. Um, Robalo. They didn't make their R160 um, in 2020. I think they Robalo cut out some of their lower end boats during the pandemic because they couldn't keep up with production. And just like I was saying, manufacturers have done in general over the last 5-10 years, is Robalo said, listen, we're going to give that production slot from an R16 and we're going to build a 22 or a 23 footer. And they cut some of their smaller boats. Yeah, there we go. That's the 16's not on their list on their website when you go there. 20 foot is their biggest Cayman. 20 foot's their biggest dual console, and the 18's their biggest center console. That's interesting that they've got the web page built for the 16, but they don't show it. That's really interesting. They don't show it in their list of boats when you go to center consoles. Interesting. So anyway, yeah, those are Eric. Thank you for adding that. Ray, I would like to thank everyone, Matt, Brock, etc., for your help, advice, support during my health problems. Kidneys now clear, full functioning. That's awesome, man. Congratulations, Ray. I'm glad that the health is back on track, and I'm glad that that you're a part of the community. It's been fun having you. Ray's been, if you don't know, Ray's from Indiana. He had a pontoon that, as he said, he sold, but and is looking at maybe an aluminum fishing boat. But Ray's been a staple on the lies for at least a year, if not more. So it's always awesome to have a core group of guys that are on. I need some of y'all to come up Pacific Northwest. Bo, if I'm up there, I'm gonna give you a call if I make the trip up to the Seattle Boat Show sometime. That you'll be on the list. That is funny. Just received the smoker catalog. Adventure 20 looks pretty sharp. I'm gonna assume that Smoker Craft. Smoker 20 GLA. All right. That's showing me a grill. I don't know if that's okay, Smoker Craft Adventure. I assume that's Smoker Adventurer 20. Yeah, that's Smokercraft. There's a lot of, and I wish I knew more about them. I've been saying this for like 6 months that I need to dive deeper on them, and I haven't made it to a market that has enough of them and talk to enough boating guys that I trust their opinion, that can kind of educate me on them. I need to just make the trip up to a Minnesota boat show to Minneapolis. That's a good show anyway. But I haven't fit that into my schedule with girls that are 9 and 11, soon to be 12. My free time usually involves basketball or dance or driving them somewhere. Trick of nighttime, you must look at lighted areas at night, close one of your eyes. That's good. I like that. I was talking to my daughter about how they used to put all the backlights was red or kind of an amber orange, in the the speedometers and the tack on the boats and in cars, so that your night vision would stay. Like it's backlit, you can see it. And now, you drive down the road and somebody's watching TV on a 20-inch screen on their car. And in our minivan, it's the same thing. It's um it's just a big old giant screen right in your way. Momo, thank you very much. I appreciate the support. And hopefully you get some good value, and if nothing, entertainment with our lives here. But yeah, it is it's amazing how it's almost like nobody cares about that anymore. That concept is is out the window. My daughter's like, "What now? What? Why does red do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. There's something about the wavelengths and whatever, but that's manufacturers used to care. Now all they're doing is giving brighter headlights on cars and light bars on boats." So, that's funny. Seems like you can't get a bass boat front. Yeah, under 50. I talked about Andy at Team Marines um video. He was like his was 100. He put his number at you can get the whole boat and trailer for like 60, whatever, I don't nitro or whatever one he was on. But he got up to 110,000 with just some basic equipment. So it's keeps going up and up, and I don't see it coming down. New bass boats under 50 are going to be 18 with the 150. Minimal electronics, best to go slightly used. Yeah, Brock, I agree with you 100%. Is going used for a lot of folks makes a lot of sense. That's the way I lean anyway. I lean to for myself. I bought for me, my wife is different. We got her a brand new van because that's the way she leans. But I bought a brand new Toyota Tundra. That's the only new vehicle I bought. I'll usually buy something that's a couple years old, and I'll run it till it dies. Well, I'll run it till the AC runs out. I'm not crazy. I got to have my air conditioning here in the Carolinas, but I just take care of it, and you can get a lot of use out of it. I'm not a big new person. Like it doesn't bother me to drive something that's a little bit older. It's got some miles on it. Take care of it. Inspect it really, really well before you buy it. And you can get a great boat. You can get a great boat that's pre-owned if you're diligent and if you inspect it really well. Pull in professional help if you need it on checking compression and checking the lube and the gear lube and the fluids. Do a good solid demo like we talk about in the toolkit, and we talk about in the book as well. I'm waiting on some drawings that I need to update. That's getting way behind when I wanted to release it, um, but that on water demo is critical if you're buying used for sure. With the Hydrofin, how much faster do you think someone can get 25-foot tri-tune with the 115 top speed 20? Um, they have some numbers, Matt, on what they were getting. I haven't been to their website for a while, so I don't know if they've got anything new out. But FAQ. It was on the boat I ran, which was a pontoon. They were just rolling out the tri-tune version of the fin when I talked to them 2 years ago. It's out now, but as you saw, but it was for his boat. They ran it without him. They ran it with 25-foot pontoon, 25-inch tunes with the 150 Mercury 4-stroke, I think is what it was, and, it picked up 7 miles an hour was the increase of speed. I'm almost certain that's what it was, 7 miles an hour, and what was interesting is that the boats that really performed better speeds were the ones with the smaller horsepower, um, because they limited the drag so much that it really allowed those 50, 75, 90 horsepower engines to really propel that forward because they limited the drag, which I thought was kind of interesting. And yeah, on their YouTube channel, I think they had a couple of customers that were talking about the before and after run, because when they first got started, I don't know if they still do it, but they would actually go to the customer to install them. So they would run the boat first, and then they would run it. They would install it, and then they would dial it in, because you got to get the right angle of that fin. That's where I was saying the precision of the fin and the angle of the fin can make a huge difference. He told me you could set it to be more aggressive or less aggressive. The active driving that I was talking about, he said the more aggressive you set that fin to raise up, the more of that active driving that you need. But you can set them and still get most of the benefit, but limit the rise, limit the height of the lift, by adjusting it. And so they have some play with them on the installation. Once you install them, they're fixed, but you can install them at some different angles and different locations. So it's kind of interesting. But I would say 6 to 7 miles an hour is probably in that example. Um, Pre-owned boat, new engine, yeah, and the engines are just as are going up just as quickly as boats. That it used to be the line was an outboard is $1,000 a horsepower. So a 50, no, that's not it. Maybe it was $500 a horsepower, but you could kind of gauge what the price would be, and now that's way out of line. Um, Ozark Mountain. Yes, the Ozark Mountain Daredevil. Oh yeah, we had great times. Our wallets, not so much. Wife's already planning another one for the family next with the kids. Yeah, my wife is talking about doing a similar thing. I may need to get some tips from you on how you guys put it together. And our kids are, like I said, 9, and my oldest will be 12 in June. And we're like, all right, before she thinks it's not cool anymore to do anything Disney, that will be we'll have to get it done then. So, um, yeah, now it's time to start hitting the water. The weather's here for us in the Carolinas. How would you say the average wave is on the Ozarks, where most of the boats are? I mean, it's nothing to have a bunch of 30, 40-foot cruisers out on the water, and it is, the channels aren't very wide. Um, the Ozarks. So if you look if you look at the width, this is, oh, here I am. I think I was showing website and I didn't have it up. But if you look, this is why they call the Lake of the Ozarks the Dragon, is because it's got that all that twisty turny stuff. But my family's place is right over here off this is the Niangua Bridge, on the little Niangua arm. This is goes down to Hurricane Deck right here on Highway 5 there as you're going into Lori and Sunrise Beach. This is Osage. So right here, Osage is where all of the um I say all of the traffic, but this is the Grand Glaze Bridge right here, and this area, kind of in this loop, is I would say the busiest. We like to go to Redheads, which is around here somewhere. That was Margaritaville. Redheads is probably, I don't see it on here. Might be down here a little bit further. But anyway, the the waves are going to be, they don't get huge. It's just everywhere. It's like it's wave on top of wave on top of wave, and then you have that action, and then you got a big cruiser that goes by, or a 27-footer that's just plowing, and they'll put out a 2-3 footer that on top of kind of going through that wash machine, and now you're going to hit that as well, and that's where you're going to really trim up and then just lighten that up, and then you're going to trim down after you get through those, and you're going to adjust your course a little bit. And I might make it out a little bit worse than it is. You'll be fine. I mean, there's 18 footers that run out in this area down by Osage. Now, they're getting smashed around, and if they're not really active, competent, aware drivers, they're going to take a wave over the bow, but they'll be fine. And in your 23 chaparral, you're going to be okay, but it's going to be choppy, and the better you are at driving, the more aware you are, and hitting waves at a good angle, when the big cruisers come by, that try to hit that at a 45. If you get caught in the trough, you're really going to rock and roll, and because you're so narrow, almost everything wants to hit you. Like the waves are going to go out like this all the way down, so it's almost always hitting you at a reasonably good angle off the bow. um but yeah, I would say 2 to 3 footers are huge down there. It's not like the wind gets anything because of the high sheer cliffs. It's all just the chop on top of chop on top of chop. Take a look at Avid. It was a Florida Sportsman best boat series. That's interesting. Interesting. I'll have to dive a little bit deeper. Yeah, I can usually read between the lines on figure out what the boat is, but when I pulled up a grill there, I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Time for the old man to hit the sheets. Granson and I did some trout fishing. 4 years old, wiped me out, I bet. Well, thanks for joining, Brian, and let's hope you get through the 30s and get back into the 70s up there in West Virginia. Momo, thanks again. I appreciate the support. Um, just need the boat. Um, Learn that trick in Vietnam. Yes, that is the military. That's another the I don't want to say, um it's not common sense, but the ability to deal with different situation, guys from your generation in the service, like, you just know how to handle shit that most guys don't, and have, obviously, being in Vietnam, been through some stuff that most of us can't even imagine. And it's something that seems like probably my generation and past, that weren't in the military, just haven't had any of those experiences. So, all right, for any trailer boater, if your boat breaks down the dock, move it out of the way. There's other people trying to get in and out. Yes, that is, I've seen guys working on their boat just on the trailer, because they don't have earmuffs, and they just need water, and so they just back it down, and it's not on a Tuesday afternoon when nobody's out there. It's always on a Saturday, and right in the middle. And by the way, Bo, thank you for the contribution. I very much appreciate that. Um, as always. Had a run in with that yesterday after I got back from fishing. Guy with the wake boat, we're trying to fix their boat right in the middle of the ramp. But yeah, of course, taking up both lanes. I've got that video too, I think. If not, I've got it on my list to do. But I think I did this one last year. Um, Boat launch mistakes. Um, there we go. I guess I don't have it as etiquette. I need to redo that one as boat ramp etiquette. I thought I had done that one. I guess not. Boat ramp do's and don'ts, unwritten boating etiquette. All right, I got to do one titled etiquette. It's got I talked about the same types of things, I think. But yeah, and they're just oblivious to what that that they're causing any issues in anybody's way in whatsoever. So, I can only imagine, Bo. I can only imagine. Um, Learn that night vision trick in Vietnam, especially with aerial flares. That's interesting. Um, the one eye. I'll have to try that. The one eye trick. There's a line of 8 boats. There were 12 boats on the dock, just sitting there for 25 minutes. And if you say something, you're the ass. Like, come on, man. Uh, Love the technology, autonomous driving, joystick, hot cup holder. Sign me up. Crazy Simrad doesn't have any auto dimming feet. Really? That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I know a guy that he does a lot of the training videos for Simrad, and I reached out to him. He's a friend of mine. He used to work at Sportsman with another friend of mine that worked at Sportsman. And when I was looking for somebody to help me with some video stuff, he connected me with him, and I'll have to talk to him about that. It's insane that you wouldn't have a dim feature on a big giant bright screen. Um, it seems like a no brainer. Looks like they could be a lot of good bass fish in Lake of the Ozarks. Yeah, absolutely. They have a bunch of tournaments down there, but you will pull out some huge ones down there for sure. There's a lot of great fish in there. That and huge catfish as well. It's a big dammed up river that is super super deep, and so there's good catfishing too. Probably the last one to talk, but it's crazy. You could spend 6 figures, comes with nothing compared to a similarly priced car. Yeah, it's. I mean the you know fiberglass, the cost of the petroleum, the resin costs have gone up like threefold in the last 10 years. This was even before the pandemic. That was on the rise as petroleum prices went up. It's a petroleum based product. All of the technology and the emissions. When I was selling boats, I remember they required the catalytic converter for EPA restrictions on stern drives. No benefit. Matter of fact, might even taken a little performance away. But the same 4.3 Mercruiser went up $3,000 because of the catalytic converter. So it was it was funny. We had 2 boats, identical boats, even the color. This one had a catalytic converter. This one didn't. This one was $3,000 less. Everything else was identical. This one got built with one of the last engines that they had because there was a cutoff on the engine date. If you had the engine was built after this date, it had to have a catalytic converter. So we bought as many boats as we could that didn't have the converters. The dealership I was at was a bigger dealer, so they had a little bit of leeway to order that type of thing and get that kind of a benefit. But $3,000 just for the catalytic converters. Now you go to other emissions restrictions, which is great, right? We want the water to be clean. We want the earth to last forever with us on it, living happily. But you've got all the technology. You've got, okay, well, we're going to do, instead of doing cable steering and cable shifting, we're going to do all digital throttle and shift and digital steering and now electric steering. And now we're going to do this little ECM. And now we're going to put this, $2,000 screen on, and we're going to do, everything's going to be electric switching versus the manual analog on off switches. And next thing you know, you make 10 decisions like that, and your boat just went up $10,000 or more. And they don't have that same type of thing in the car industry. Partly because they've got more scale, because the smallest car manufacturer is building 10 times more units than the biggest boat manufacturer. It's just the way it is. Tim, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying it, and I really appreciate the contribution very, very much. All of that, the financial contributions, the thumbs up, the sharing of videos, all of that is always appreciated. Avid makes some really nice center consoles. A friend of mine has the 21 with the custom fiberglass T-top. Very nice. Well, that's awesome. Who was that that's getting the Avid? Or that just got the Avid? Rich? Yes, Rich. So that's awesome, Rich. That I didn't realize that. But you know what? Maybe we did talk about that. Somebody I talked to had a boat that had won some awards that I hadn't heard of. I wonder if that was it, if Rich had been on another one. What do you think about Sea Chaser? I have not inspected a Sea Chaser. Chaser boats. That is one that I have not that is one that I have not inspected. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. So they're owned by the same private equity group that owns Carolina Skiff. I don't believe I've ever inspected them. So I can't say if they follow the same model of Carolina Skiff to being, hey, we're going to be bare bones. They're probably in that value category, but I don't know. If I can read the about section, I can usually get a boating enthusiast know Sea Chaser is the most durable, versatile, stable, economical boat on the planet. Maintained our reputation for 30 years. Fit finish, most features, best functionality available on the market, giving you the best value in both performance and comfort. 12 models to choose from, meets personal needs. Whether you're looking for a pleasure boat, fishing boat, runabout, Sea Chasers delivers the most value, quality, and style. Okay, so by reading that, when they use words like economical boat, most value, that tells me that it's either a mid-tier or a value brand. That's the type of language that they use, even though they say, we're the best value in both performance and comfort. There's that value word again. Puts them in like, hey, a lot of boat for the money is what they're saying, which means, hey, we don't put some of the stuff on. Like if you look at this picture right here, they leave the screens blank, which means, hey, you can put a smaller screen on there. And some manufacturers do that, or some dealers order them that way because they don't know if you're going to be a low rants guy or a Simrad guy or a Ray Marine or whatever you like to put on them. But others do it to keep the price down. I also look at the thickness of the cushion. That's usually a pretty telltale sign of the material that they use. Thicker cushions, firmer cushions are usually going to have a layer of drainage layer. So they've got the hard foam or the more sturdy foam, the middle layer of foam, and then the drain layer. On the less expensive brands are going to leave out the drain layer, or they're going to compress it and have it be smaller, which means more likely to get some mold and mildew on that over time, more likely to break down, probably a little bit less fiberglass in the lamination schedule. But that's what keeps the price down. And it's still a very safe, very functional, and you still, like they say, a lot of boat for the money. And for a lot of people, it's a great option. I want the warranty. I need that warranty. I feel more comfortable with it, and that's exactly what they're there for. You can dim it, but yeah. So there's not an easy touch and dim. That's yeah. It doesn't make sense. Even a touch for night mode, like put it in night mode where it automatically dims, and It's a silly thing. Screen Bright should have its own button. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you shouldn't have to search to make that happen. All right, we're at 10:10 here. We're over an hour in. Again, thank you, Tim D. Very much appreciate it. So we'll throw in your last couple of questions here, and we'll start wrapping up for the night. As we're getting into the season, if you're buying a boat, grab the Boat Buyer's Toolkit. If you're a new boater, grab the Boaters Bootcamp. We now have, I think it's live, but the Boater Bootcamp and the Coastal Boater Bootcamp. So if you're a coastal person, if you want the coastal version, let me know and I'll get you signed up for that. If you're in the Boaters Bootcamp, you can go to that. And I think coastalboaterbootcamp.com or boaterbootcamp.com will get you the freshwater version. And we just finished up the Coastal Boater Bootcamp about a week ago, and they were getting it all set up in the program. If you struggle operating your boat, handling your boat, docking your boat, tying it up, doing those basic boat maneuvering skills, if you get nervous when you start pulling up to the dock, check out Best Boat Captain on the Water. Like I said, I was filming the twin engine version. Jet boat, wake boat version will become later this summer. I probably won't have those done until June or so. But that's a much smaller segment of the marketplace. So those will come next. Confident coastal boater, trailer like a pro. If you are in those environments, tow water sports with confidence. Ski and wakeboard the easy way. I've got to talk to Captain Sydney. That she's in the show ski team, and she's going to put my daughters in the water with her and walk through teaching kids how to wakeboard and how to ski on doubles. I don't know if we'll do single ski or not. My 12-year-old should be able to do it. Actually, both my girls should be able to do it. But so I'm not even going to say that'll be done by 4th of July, but those are on their way as well. And as always, they all come with the Happy Boater 100% money back guarantee. For any reason you ask for a refund from me, you get it. I don't mess with that. If you want a refund, you get it. And I just assume most people are honest and not taking advantage. But if you do, you do. And I'd rather not mess with it. So just give you your money back. Oh, I've skipped over Herb. Catalytics in the Mercruisers are nuts to replace 2,200 a piece. Yeah, it blew me away. It blew me away because we had to be like, you were talking to somebody that was looking to buy a boat. And it was, at that point, I started selling in 2009. I think I stopped in 2013 or 14. And it was, hey, this Sea Ray 185 with the 4.3 is 32,000. And then like they would talk to you, we got close to selling out of those and be like, listen, this is the last one. It's 32,000. The next one we get in is going to be 35,500. And it's just, that's the way it is. I didn't realize that that replacements were that expensive, although it makes sense. It makes sense. So in-water charging stations, just think of the possibilities. Yeah, it's we'll see how that all comes along. On my Garmin 1242, just learned you can tap the power button rapidly. It'll cycle through screen brightness. Is interesting. It's that's the thing about a lot of this technology too, is there's probably some hidden things that your stuff can do easily, like my iPhone. I'll watch a video and I'll be like, oh, I didn't know my phone could do that. And with some of the screens, I think there's probably some of that stuff going on too. Swipe up or down. Yeah, it should be a very easy to get to simple thing that and Brock, I know you're a guy that you read through the manual and you watched all that stuff before you got going, and it didn't just jump right out at you. Something that you really got to search for. Let's see. King and City the first. King Sin City the First. There we go. I really got to start wearing my glasses on these. Looking to purchase a Crest pontoon on next month. Is now a good time to buy to get the best price, or should I wait? So, Kings in Sin City, it depends on where you're at. You are almost everywhere. You're getting to be all right. So let me back this up. It depends on what you mean by the best time to buy. Is now the best time to get the lowest price? No, no. So the best price you're going to get in November, December, January. That's going to be the lowest price. And if you can find the leftover of the previous model year, they're really anxious to get rid of that as quickly as they can. Not many of those around, but there's a few regions of the country, a few segments of the boat market, that there might be some 2022 still on the market. A Crest pontoon, especially if you're looking at anything over a 150 horsepower, you're almost certainly on a 2023 unless the dealer is way over ordered, or you're in a really really depressed part of the country, which is unlikely in the pontoon market. But that's going to be the best time to negotiate because they are lonely. The boat dealers don't have anybody coming to see them. There's not many people looking in the market. The further north you go, the more true that becomes. If you're in the Gulf Coast, if you're in the Florida market, even southern Georgia, some of those that they don't have quite that same seasonality. But if it gets cold, if there's snow on the ground, boat dealers, a lot of them will pack up. They'll go down to their Florida home for the 3-4 months of winter, and then they come back because there's nothing to do. Um, maybe they leave a skeleton crew, but that's a great time to get the best deal. Boat show is another great time to get a low price because manufacturers will put some incentives out there. Not so much in the last 3 years, but we did see some boat show incentives in different parts of the country. They weren't advertising them nationally to the general public on their website. Most of them were only advertising them on site to people that walked into the boat show and into that booth. So that's the next best time. So, but here's the thing. And then your next best time to get the best price will be after Labor Day. So after Labor Day, the selling season drops off, and here's their situation. They've got 2023 models on the showroom floor. I can either discount it now and move it, or I have to pay interest and maybe curtailment payments until April, May of next year. It's going to depreciate even more. I've got interest and curtailment payments, and well, I'd rather just discount it now and get rid of it. So those are your best times to buy price-wise. Here's the problem with that is we're April 15th now, April 16th now. And if you wait, your next time is going to be after Labor Day and you miss the whole season. The other thing is if you wait until Labor Day and you buy a 2023 model, that model is a year old. Okay. So it's already, yes, you're getting a discount on it, but it's depreciated because when you go to sell it, it's a year older and you didn't get any use out of it. So that it's something to think about. So if you want to buy a boat this year, if you can find a boat that fits your budget, go to get my first time boat buyer academy and use the negotiation tactics in there, and you can save a good amount of money with the right approach. But if you buy the boat in Labor Day, the same boat in Labor Day, if it was still in the dealer's inventory, you could buy it for less, but you missed the whole boating season. So that's the catch. That's the catch is it worth saving extra 3 or 4 grand to get the same boat, but miss the 2023 boating season? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That's a personal choice, but that's my take on the best time of year to buy, if that makes sense. So, but there's certainly opportunity to negotiate and save on the crest or whatever pontoon you end up looking at in the next month. And the closer you get to right before Memorial Day, the I don't want to say the less negotiation power you have, but that's when most people want to buy a boat from the 2 weeks before Memorial Day to a day before Labor Day, or maybe let's say the week before Labor Day. That's when dealers do 75% of their sales in most of the country, especially if it's a colder climate. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Ed will help find a boat. All right. I'm not sure what that means, Ed, but thanks for the comment. If you want to re-put in your post, it may have got cut off or something. I'm not sure. To go to a 12-inch Simrad from a 9, you have to pay more than double. We boaters are crazy. That's an understatement. Sustainability. We've got a affliction, an affliction that will stay with us for a long, long time. And it is it's part I think it's part of why the boat prices have gone up so much, is because there's crazy people like us all over the place that will pay the money to buy all the stuff that goes along with boating, including the electronics, the gear, the floats, and the water toys, the coolers, all that stuff, the accessories, and we just keep getting it. So all right. Well, thank you guys all very much for joining. I feel like maybe I've lost connection from my comments. That was the last one. Thanks everybody that made a contribution. Tim, Bo, you guys know him as Saint, Momo, Adams. Thank you very much. And where is he at? Middle-aged delinquent, not deviant. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. And hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. We'll be back here next week. Momo, you're very welcome. Rob, you're very, very welcome. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll catch you all next weekend. Yes, next weekend. I've got one of these weekends. I've got a I might have my in-laws in town. My daughter's dance recital is the weekend of May 6th. So that weekend I may be doing family stuff, but I'll let you know if we're gonna skip that week. Thanks everybody. Thanks JP. Thanks Bob on Facebook, and we'll catch you guys all next week.